You ever wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and feel like you're fighting your own reflection? You ever feel that voice whispering in your ear, "You're not good enough, you're too late, you'll never make it"? Let me tell you something, that voice is not your friend. That voice is a liar, and if you let it, it will kill your dreams before the world ever gets a chance to see them. Every single person in this room has a dream. Maybe it's buried deep inside you. Maybe it's been silenced by years of fear, failure, and doubt. But it's there, and it's fighting to be heard. See, life will not ask you, "Are you ready?" Life will just show up. It'll knock you down, take your breath away, and dare you to get back up. And when you do, that negative voice, the one that feeds on your fear, will be waiting. But I came here to tell you today, you can't move mountains with a negative mind. You can't climb when your thoughts are chained to the ground. If you want to fly, if you want to rise, if you want to live the life that was written for you, you've got to kill that negative thinking before it kills your destiny. Your mind is the battlefield, not your neighborhood, not your school, not your job, not the people around you. Your mind, that's where the war is fought, and that's where victory or defeat begins. You can have all the talent in the world, you can have the right opportunities, you can even have people cheering for you. But if your mind is working against you, nothing else will matter. Because your thoughts, not your circumstances, determine your direction. You can't build a powerful life with a weak mindset. You can't move forward if your thoughts are pulling you back. The moment you wake up, a battle begins. Between belief and doubt, between strength and weakness, between faith and fear. And the one you feed is the one that wins. When you feed your mind negativity, when you tell yourself, "I can't, I'm not enough, I'll never make it," you're training your mind to see limits where there are none. You're giving your fears permission to drive your life. But when you speak life into your thoughts, when you feed your self-belief, courage, and purpose, you start to unlock potential you never even knew you had. You see, your life will always move in the direction of your strongest thoughts. If you believe you're trapped, you'll act trapped. If you believe you're capable, you'll start to find ways to make it true. Every great achievement begins in the mind long before it becomes reality. The Wright brothers saw flight in their minds before the world ever saw a plane. Edison saw light before the first bulb ever glowed. They fought that mental battle, first the doubt, the fear, the critics, and they won in their minds before they won in the world. Because your thoughts create the foundation for your actions. You can't live a positive life with a negative mind. The soil of your mind determines what grows in your life. If you plant fear, you'll harvest hesitation. If you plant faith, you'll harvest courage. You can't plant weeds and expect roses. The problem is, most people never stop to guard their minds. They guard their money, they guard their homes, they guard their phones, but they leave their minds wide open to anything. They let negativity flood in through the news, through gossip, through comparison. They allow fear to set up camp inside their head and wonder why they feel paralyzed. But you've got to understand, your mind is sacred ground. You can't let just anything take root there. You've got to protect your peace like your life depends on it. Because it does. Every single day, you've got to take command of your thoughts. You've got to talk to yourself more than you listen to yourself. Because if you just listen, you'll hear all the doubt, all the fear, all the old voices that told you you're not enough. But when you speak to yourself, when you affirm what's true, when you remind yourself of who you are and what you're capable of, that's when the tide turns. The battle isn't won in silence. It's won with intention. Tell yourself, "I am strong. I am capable. I am chosen for something greater. I am not defined by my past. I am not a victim of my fear. See, the enemy of your destiny doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you. If he can fill your mind with worry, if he can make you doubt yourself, if he can convince you to settle, he's already won. Because when the mind stops believing, the body stops moving. That's why your mental discipline must be stronger than your emotions. You won't always feel confident. You won't always feel brave. But you can still think like a warrior. You can still train your mind to push through when your feelings say stop. Understand this. The thoughts you repeat become the beliefs you live by. The beliefs you live by shape your reality. So if you want to change your life, you must start by renewing your mind. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about deciding that no matter how hard life gets, you won't think like a victim. You'll think like a victor. You'll think like someone who was built to rise, to overcome, to conquer. Because when you master your mind, you master your life. The mind is powerful. It can build prisons or it can open doors. It can chain you to your past, or it can propel you toward your purpose. The choice is yours. The moment you decide to stop feeding your doubts and start feeding your dreams, everything changes. The mind is the battlefield, and victory belongs to those who refuse to surrender their thoughts to fear. Words create worlds. What you speak becomes what you see. Every word that leaves your mouth carries power. Power to build or to break, to heal or to harm, to open doors or to close them. You might not realize it, but your life is echoing the language you use. The conversations you have, the thoughts you repeat, the phrases you speak over yourself and others. They shape the atmosphere you live in. Because words are not just sounds, they are seeds. And whatever you plant with your mouth will eventually grow in your life. If you keep saying, "I can't," you're teaching your mind to stop trying. If you keep saying, "I'm tired," your spirit will start to drag. But if you say, "I'm able," if you say, "I'm ready," if you say, "I'm strong," something shifts. It's not magic. It's mindset. You start to align your actions with your declarations. You begin to believe in the world you're describing. That's why you must be careful what you speak when you're frustrated, when you're hurt, when you're afraid. Because the words you speak in pain can build walls around your potential. There's an energy that follows every statement you make about yourself. When you say, "I'll never make it," you are already closing the door to opportunity. When you say, "I'm not smart enough," you're giving permission for doubt to sit on the throne of your mind. But when you say, "I'll find a way," you release possibility. When you say, "I am more than enough," you remind your spirit that you were created with purpose. Words are like blueprints. They design the structure of your reality. Before a building stands, it must first exist in a plan. Before your success becomes visible, it must first be spoken into existence. Think about it. Every great leader, every visionary, every person who changed the world started with words. They declared what could be before anyone else believed it. "I have a dream. We choose to go to the moon. Let there be light." History was written because someone dared to speak something new. Their words carried the authority to reshape the world around them. That same power lives in you. The same creative force that builds civilizations can rebuild your confidence, your family, your faith, if you learn how to speak life. But the tragedy is, many people use their own words as weapons against themselves. They curse their own potential without even realizing it. They talk more about what's missing than what's possible. They gossip about failure instead of speaking faith. They spend years telling themselves they're not ready, they're not worthy, they're not capable, and then wonder why life feels so heavy. If you constantly tell yourself you're not enough, eventually, your mind will believe you. You'll live small not because life demanded it, but because your language did. The tongue can either be your greatest tool or your sharpest blade. You have to learn to speak with intention. Speak what you want to see, not just what you feel. Feelings are temporary, but words are lasting. The emotions you feel today might fade tomorrow, but the words you speak in that moment can linger for years. A careless sentence can plant a seed of doubt that takes decades to uproot. That's why wisdom tells us to be slow to speak and quick to think. Your words are not disposable. They are directions. Every sentence is a step toward a future you're building. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing that leaves your mouth should not be complaint. It should be command. Declare your day before it declares itself. Say, "Today I choose peace." Say, "Today I walk in strength." Say, "Today I'm ready for growth." You'll be amazed how differently your day responds when you set the tone with your tongue. Your words can set boundaries for your mind and give focus to your purpose. Speak victory even when the situation looks impossible, because faith doesn't deny the mountain, it speaks to it. And remember, your words don't just shape your own world, they shape the worlds of others. The right word at the right time can lift a broken soul. A word of encouragement can reignite someone's fire. You never know who's fighting silently, who's on the edge of giving up, who's waiting for someone to tell them, "You can do this." Don't underestimate the impact of what comes out of your mouth. Words travel farther than you'll ever see. They echo in minds, they ripple through hearts, they outlive moments. So guard your mouth the way you guard your dreams. Speak what brings life, not what spreads darkness. Be the kind of person whose presence changes a room, not because of wealth or fame, but because of what you say. You can build peace in your home with your words. You can create courage in your children with your words. You can shape the future with the sound of your faith. Because long after the noise fades and the crowd disappears, your words remain, and they will continue building the world you once only imagined. Failure is not the enemy. It is a teacher, a mentor, and a signpost pointing the way forward. Most people fear failure as though it is the end of the road, as though falling down means they are broken forever. But the truth is, failure is not a verdict. It is feedback. Every mistake, every stumble, every setback carries with it a lesson, a key to growth, and a chance to rise higher than before. The people who achieve greatness are not those who avoid failure. They are the ones who learn to fail forward. They take every misstep and turn it into momentum. They take every loss and turn it into knowledge. When you fail, it doesn't mean you are defeated. It simply means you have tried. It simply means you are in the arena, daring to fight for something bigger than your comfort zone. Fear of failure keeps more dreams in the shadows than any obstacle ever could. People spend years saying, "I'll start tomorrow," because they are afraid that today's attempt might not succeed. They postpone their greatness because they have convinced themselves that failure is final. But failure is never final unless you allow it to be. Every failure is temporary. It is a stepping stone on the road to success. Look at every person you admire, every innovator, every leader, every person who left a mark on the world. They all failed. They failed publicly, they failed privately, they failed often, and yet they kept going. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb on his first try. He failed thousands of times, and each time he said, "I have not failed. I've found 0 ways that won't work." That is the mindset of someone who fails forward. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey. It is the proof that you are trying, that you are stretching yourself, that you are learning. Failing forward requires courage, and courage is born in the moments when you choose to keep moving despite fear. It means stepping into the unknown, trying something new, and daring to risk being wrong. It means that you will stumble, that you will fall, that you will feel the sting of disappointment, and you will rise anyway. Because every time you get back up, you strengthen the muscle of resilience. You sharpen your vision. You refine your strategy. The lessons learned in failure are often the lessons that success cannot teach. Many people avoid failure by staying in their comfort zones, by settling for mediocrity, by doing just enough to get by. But comfort will never lead to greatness. To achieve your dreams, you must embrace the possibility of failure. You must accept that mistakes are not shameful. They are necessary. You must understand that the faster you fail, the faster you learn, and the faster you grow. Failure becomes a friend when you shift your perspective. It becomes a mirror showing you what doesn't work, a compass guiding you toward what does. Failing forward also means taking responsibility for your mistakes. It's easy to blame circumstances, to blame other people, to blame the world. But growth comes when you look at your role in the outcome, when you analyze what went wrong, and when you commit to doing better next time. It means saying, I may have failed, but I refuse to let this define me. I will learn. I will adapt. I will move forward. That is the mindset of champions. That is the mindset of leaders. That is the mindset that transforms failure into stepping stones. It is also important to remember that not all failures are equal. Some failures are small, some are public, some are deeply personal, and some change the trajectory of your life entirely. But the principle is the same. You can use each failure as fuel, or you can let it extinguish your fire. The choice is yours. You can let fear and regret weigh you down, or you can rise with new wisdom, new strength, and renewed determination. Those who fail forward are not immune to pain. They simply refuse to be paralyzed by it. Every time you take a risk and fail, you are learning more about yourself, about your craft, about the world around you. You are discovering limits you thought existed, uncovering talents you didn't know you had, and building the confidence to keep trying. Success is not a straight line. It is a path littered with failure. The people who succeed fastest are not the ones who never stumble. They are the ones who stumble, learn, and stumble better next time. Every failure carries a lesson. Every lesson carries a tool. And every tool carries the power to shape your future. Failing forward is a choice, a mindset, a strategy. It is refusing to let fear of falling prevent you from rising. It is understanding that every great achievement has been preceded by missteps, by rejection, by disappointment, and it is trusting that each step, even the wrong ones, brings you closer to your destination. To fail forward is to embrace growth, to embrace courage, and to embrace the journey toward the life you were meant to live. Discipline over doubt is the principle that separates those who achieve from those who merely wish. Motivation comes and goes. Inspiration is fleeting. You might feel ready to conquer the world one morning and wake up the next day weighed down by fear, tiredness, or uncertainty. That's why discipline is the true engine of progress. Discipline is showing up when your feelings tell you to quit. Discipline is taking action when your emotions scream, stop. It is the quiet, relentless commitment to move forward, even when you don't feel like it, even when the circumstances are stacked against you. Doubt is natural. Every human being experiences it. It creeps in when you're about to take a risk, when you're standing at the edge of opportunity, when you're reaching for something that feels just beyond your grasp. Doubt whispers lies like, you're not ready, you don't have what it takes, it's too hard. If you listen to it, you will stall, You will hesitate, you will shrink, but discipline acts as a shield. It does not deny the existence of doubt. It acknowledges it, and then it chooses action anyway. It says, I may be afraid, I may be uncertain, but I will move forward. That is what separates winners from those who remain stagnant. Discipline is built through consistent effort. It is not a one-time act of courage or a single decision. It is a daily commitment to rise, to work, to learn, to push, to refine, to persist. Some days you will feel unstoppable, and those days will feel easy. But discipline is most powerful on the days when nothing feels easy, when your body is tired, when your mind is questioning, when every fiber of your being wants to quit. Those are the days that determine who you are, because consistent action during doubt builds strength, resilience, and character. The truth is, doubt is often louder than reality. It exaggerates problems, magnifies obstacles, and paralyzes potential. Your mind will tell you you can't do it long before your body proves it. Discipline is the antidote. It teaches you to trust action over hesitation, effort over fear. It reminds you that progress is made one step at a time, one decision at a time, one consistent effort at a time. You don't have to feel ready, you just have to be willing to act. Every step you take despite doubt is a victory over the paralysis that fear brings. Discipline also demands sacrifice. You will have to say no to comfort, to convenience, to temporary pleasure in order to say yes to long-term growth. You will have to work when others rest, prepare when others procrastinate, and persevere when others surrender. That is the nature of progress. Life does not reward those who wait for the perfect moment. It rewards those who refuse to let doubt dictate their actions. Your discipline becomes the proof of your commitment to yourself, your goals, and your potential. And here is the beauty of it. The more you practice discipline, the less power doubt holds over you. Each time you act in spite of uncertainty, you train your mind to trust effort over fear. You create a track record of experience that proves, time and time again, that you are capable of more than you imagine. You build momentum. You accumulate victories, small, steady, sometimes invisible victories, that reinforce the truth that action conquers hesitation. Discipline over doubt is not glamorous. It is not flashy. It does not make headlines, but it makes champions. It makes those who finish the race when others are exhausted. It makes those who achieve long after motivation has disappeared. It turns ordinary people into extraordinary ones, not because they never doubted, but because they chose discipline over doubt again and again. The world will test you. Circumstances will challenge you. Your mind will fight you. But when you rise above doubt through discipline, you create a foundation that cannot be shaken. You are no longer at the mercy of your feelings, your fears, or your circumstances. You are at the helm of your life, steering through uncertainty with the steady hand of commitment. That is the power of discipline over doubt. Surround yourself with builders, not breakers. The people you spend your time with are either shaping your life or eroding it. They are either constructing your future brick by brick, or they are dismantling it piece by piece. This is not an exaggeration. Human beings are social creatures. We absorb energy, attitudes, and beliefs from those closest to us. We mirror behaviors, adopt mindsets, and unconsciously allow others' opinions to influence our choices. That's why the company you keep matters more than you might think. One negative voice in your circle can outweigh 100 positive intentions if you let it. Builders are the ones who challenge you to grow, who see potential in you even when you can't see it in yourself. They are honest, but their honesty is constructive. They correct you, not to crush your spirit, but to lift it higher. They celebrate your victories and encourage your efforts. Builders push you to do more, be more, and give more. They don't tolerate excuses because they know the world doesn't. They hold you accountable not out of judgment, but out of belief that you are capable of greatness. They understand that your success does not diminish them. It amplifies the possibilities for everyone around them. Breakers, on the other hand, operate from fear, envy, or insecurity. They criticize instead of encourage, belittle instead of support, and drain instead of energize. They measure your worth against their limitations and assume that if they are struggling, you must be too. They whisper doubts into your mind, plant seeds of hesitation, and feed negativity disguised as advice. You might think their influence is harmless, but over time it corrodes your confidence, clouds your judgment, and slows your progress. Breakers are like quicksand. You may not notice you're sinking until you're already trapped. The truth is, you don't always get to choose the circumstances of your life, but you can choose the people who stand beside you, and that choice will define the trajectory of your journey. If you surround yourself with builders, you create a network of support, insight, and inspiration. You gain mentors who have walked the path before you, peers who encourage you to rise, and allies who amplify your vision instead of distracting you from it. Energy is contagious, and when you are around people who believe in possibility, you start to believe it too. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. You can have 100 acquaintances, but if none of them are builders, your life remains stagnant. You need a circle that challenges you intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. People who push you to think bigger, to act bolder, and to refuse mediocrity. Builders ask the hard questions. Are you giving your best? Are you staying true to your purpose? Are you committed to growth? Their presence is uncomfortable at times because they won't let you settle for less than you are capable of becoming. And that discomfort is exactly what leads to transformation. Breakers, however, create comfort zones that are dangerous. They encourage you to settle, to rationalize, to stay small. They make excuses with you instead of making plans with you. They drain your enthusiasm and sow doubt about your abilities. Over time, their influence dulls your vision, and you begin to accept limitations that were never yours to begin with. That is why it is not enough to simply get along with people. You must intentionally choose those who are adding value to your life and remove yourself from those who are subtracting. Builders also teach you the power of collective growth. They know that success is not a zero-sum game. When they win, they invite you to win with them. They share knowledge, resources, and encouragement. They celebrate others' victories as if they were their own, because they understand that rising together is the ultimate strength. Surrounding yourself with builders means you are constantly exposed to ideas, habits, and attitudes that elevate you. You are challenged to rise, held accountable to your potential, and reminded daily of what is possible when you refuse to settle. The process of cultivating your circle requires discernment and courage. It may mean stepping away from relationships that have been comfortable but toxic. It may mean seeking mentors who are farther along than you and willing to invest in your growth. It may mean spending more time with people who stretch your thinking and less time with those who drain your energy. It is not always easy, but it is necessary. The quality of your relationships will always reflect the quality of your life. So ask yourself, who are the people closest to you? Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they building your future or dismantling it slowly, quietly, almost imperceptibly? The answer will determine how fast you grow, how far you go, and how fully you live. Your circle can either become your launch pad or your anchor. Choose wisely. Surround yourself with builders, not breakers, and watch how your life transforms when the people around you are committed to seeing you rise as much as they are committed to rising themselves. Faith over fear is the force that allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary things. Fear is natural. It whispers in your ear when you face the unknown, when the stakes are high, when the path ahead looks uncertain. It tells you to hesitate, to doubt, to play small, to stay safe. But faith, the kind of faith that drives action, is louder than fear. Faith says, I may not see the whole picture, but I trust the process. I may not know the outcome, but I know my purpose. Faith gives you the courage to step forward even when the road is unclear, even when your heart is racing and your mind is screaming, stop. Fear paralyzes. It keeps you frozen in the same place, repeating the same patterns, avoiding the challenges that will shape you. It convinces you that risk is too dangerous, that failure is unacceptable, that the unknown is to be feared rather than embraced. Fear thrives on uncertainty, and it grows when you allow it to control your thoughts. But faith is the antidote. Faith is the belief that there is something bigger than your current circumstance, something greater than your doubt, something stronger than the obstacles in your way. Faith is not passive. It is action guided by trust. Faith over fear requires a decision, a deliberate choice to act despite uncertainty. It is waking up every morning and saying, I will move forward even though I cannot see the entire path. It is pursuing dreams that others think are impossible. It is speaking words of life and encouragement to yourself, even when every instinct tells you to stop. The people who accomplish great things do not do so because they are fearless, they are fearful, just like you. But they have chosen faith over fear. They have chosen to move forward even when their hearts tremble, even when their circumstances seem impossible, even when the odds are stacked against them. Faith is a muscle that grows stronger every time you use it. When fear threatens to control you, you can exercise faith by taking a step, no matter how small, toward what you know is right. Each step reinforces your belief in yourself, in your vision, and in the possibility of success. Fear shrinks you, faith expands you. Fear keeps you looking down, counting the dangers, the risks, the reasons not to try. Faith lifts your eyes, showing you what could be, highlighting the opportunities, and reminding you of the strength you possess. Faith over fear also means trusting your own abilities, even when others doubt you. It means listening to the inner voice that tells you to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep believing, even when the world tells you to quit. Faith is the reason inventors risk everything on ideas no one else sees, the reason athletes push past pain and exhaustion, the reason leaders stand firm when criticism surrounds them. Without faith, fear will always win. With faith, fear becomes a signal, a challenge, a motivator rather than a roadblock. Fear will always exist. It is part of being human, but it does not have to rule you. You can face fear, acknowledge it, and still act. That is the power of faith. Faith transforms fear from a limitation into a teacher. Faith allows you to see obstacles as opportunities, challenges as lessons, setbacks as setups for greater success. When faith is stronger than fear, hesitation disappears, boldness rises, and your potential becomes visible. Faith over fear is not about ignoring danger or pretending everything will be easy. It is about trusting that you have what it takes to handle what comes, believing that every challenge is part of your journey, and committing to move forward regardless of uncertainty. Fear will whisper, but faith will speak louder, And when you choose faith over fear, you choose progress, courage, and the life you were meant to live.